So very good afternoon to everyone. In today's session, we are going to discuss few remaining points from the project risk management. So we will continue our discussion from the previous session, wherein we have started with the various processes involved in project risk management. We have considered in the previous session the processes like plan risk management, identification of the risk, then qualitative analysis of the risks which have identified, and the discussion on probability versus impact matrix for qualitative analysis of risk categories. So that was a part of discussion we have considered in the previous session. So today let us continue our discussion in the further direction. So out of the 6 processes, 3 processes we have finished: plan risk management, identify risk, and perform qualitative risk analysis. So today's session we will try to understand about the remaining 3 processes: performing quantitative risk analysis, planning the risk responses, and finally controlling the risk. So that will complete our syllabus for whatever has been pending from this module number 2 and 3. So this was the part yesterday we have seen. So let us move to the next process, next step in project risk management. This particular step, the name is quantitative risk assessment or quantitative risk analysis. Now, when we say quantitative, so as we know, when we are going for qualitative, we are simply going with the judgment, we are going with the experiences, we are going with some predictions and try to decide what will be the effect of the risk, or which risks will be having more effect on your project, which will be having more severity, what will be the chances of occurrence of your risk, something like this. But we are not actually going for applying any quantitative techniques, any numerical methods to analyze the risk which have been identified. So in quantitative risk assessment, we are going for numerical methods through which we can go for understanding the effect of this risk on your project objectives, and this quantitative risk analysis will be one step ahead than your qualitative risk analysis. So once you have this qualitative and quantitative, both kind of analysis done for the risks which have been identified, then you will get fair idea about what are the various effects of the risk categories what you have identified on your project objectives. So perform quantitative risk analysis is the process of numerically analyzing the effect of identified risks on overall project objectives. The key benefit of this process is that it produces quantitative risk information to support decision making in order to reduce project uncertainty. So whatever is the uncertainty involved in your project because of the risk categories, this quantitative risk analysis, quantitative risk assessment will be helping to support the decision making process. The inputs, tools and techniques and output of this quantitative risk assessment are as shown in the diagram. So you can see the standard inputs for quantitative risk assessment are risk management plan, then we should have the cost management plan with us, schedule management plan. Why this risk management, cost management, schedule management plan should be there? Because whenever we have the assessment of risk in terms of quantitative manner, we should check whether the cost management plan what we had and what is the cost situation or cost analysis which is in practice. So whether they are deviating, whether the risks are affecting any cost, whether the risks are affecting any schedules. So this is important because the two important things for any project, that is cost and schedule. Because most of the projects, whenever we see the projects have failed, the failure of the project is not most of the time with respect to the scope creep, not most of the time with respect to the quality of project, but most prominently the project failure, whenever we say, it is in terms of the cost of the project is increasing beyond the estimated cost or the budgeted amount, and the time which has been estimated, the schedule which has been estimated, the time for completion of your project is exceeding that time. So normally we say it is time overrun and cost overrun. So in order to avoid that, we should have, or in order to assess what is the effect of the risk on schedule and cost of your project, we should have the risk management plan, cost management plan, and schedule management plan with us. The next is risk register, because that risk register which has been prepared in identify risk, that step, this will be giving an exhaustive list of all the risk categories which may be appearing in your project, along with their characteristics, and also what are the probable response strategies that can be implemented on that particular risk. And as usual, enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, they will be serving as the standard inputs to quantitative risk assessment process. Then the tools and techniques which can be applied are, there can be gathering of data, collection of data, and certain representation techniques, quantitative risk analysis and modeling techniques like Monte Carlo simulation, or you may go for some other techniques. Expert judgment, that is another kind of tool and technique which can be applied for this quantitative risk assessment. And the final is the output from this particular process is updation in your project documents. So performing the quantitative risk analysis is performed on the risks that have been prioritized by perform qualitative risk analysis process as potential and substantially impacting the project competing demands. So before this step, before this quantitative risk assessment, already the project team has executed qualitative risk assessment, qualitative risk analysis, and with that qualitative risk analysis, they have identified certain processes, certain risk categories which are more prominent, which must be given priority for responding. So already some prioritization has been taken place for the various risk categories. So when you go for quantitative risk assessment, instead of going for all the categories again, more focus should be given for understanding the effect of the risks which have been identified as prominent risk, the high, we can say high impact, that kind of risk. So there must be efforts to evaluate what will be their performance, what will be their effect on performance of your project. The perform quantitative risk analysis process analyzes the effect of those risks on project objectives like cost, schedule, quality, and scope. It is used to mostly evaluate the aggregate effect of all risk affecting the project. When the risk drive the quantitative analysis, the process may be used to assign a numerical priority rating to those risks individually. In perform quantitative risk analysis generally follows the perform qualitative risk analysis process. In some cases, it may not be possible to execute the perform quantitative risk analysis process due to lack of sufficient data to develop appropriate models. So if we want to execute this quantitative risk analysis, there must be sufficient data available either from the previous projects or from some experts. If there is lack of sufficient data, then developing appropriate models would be difficult. The project manager should exercise expert judgment to determine the need for and viability of quantitative risk analysis. So expert judgment must be taken into consideration to understand what is the need of this quantitative risk analysis and what is the viability and feasibility of performing quantitative risk analysis. The availability of time and budget and need for qualitative and quantitative statements about risk and impacts will determine which methods to use on any particular project. So there may be multiple methods of quantitative risk analysis available. So which method should be applied on which part of your project that will be decided based upon the availability of time and budget. Perform quantitative risk analysis should be repeated as needed as part of the control risk process to determine if the overall project risk has been satisfactorily decreased. Trends may indicate the need for more or less focus on appropriate risk management activities. So when we go for control risk, that process, then sometimes we may need to go for repeating this perform quantitative risk analysis process so as to evaluate what is the priority, what is the categorization of the various risks which are appearing, and which risk should be given more focus for controlling its effect on the project objectives. Next step in project risk management is planned risk responses. So in planned risk responses, this is nothing but the process of developing the options and actions to enhance the opportunities and to reduce the threats to project objectives. So as we have discussed earlier, risks are nothing but what? There are certain uncertain events, some uncertain events which may have positive or negative effect on your project objectives. If they are having positive effects, we say these are the opportunities, and if they are having negative effects, we say these are the threats to the project objectives. Now, when we have these opportunities or threats, positive risk or negative risks, when we go for planning risk responses, in this particular process, we have to develop certain options and actions which will enhance the opportunities, and they will try to reduce the threats. So the negative risks, they should be minimized, and positive risk, they should be enhanced. The key benefit of this process is that it addresses the risk by their priority, inserting resources and activities into the budget, schedule and project management plan as needed. The inputs, tools, techniques and outputs of the process are as shown in figure. So for planning risk responses, we should have the risk management plan in our hand, and we should have the risk register with us. The tools and techniques which we should apply, they are strategies for negative risk or threats, strategies for positive risk or opportunities. So there are certain standard strategies. If the risks are negative, which are the strategies? If the risks are positive, which are the probable strategies? So we should have them in hand, and then depending upon the situation, we should be able to decide which strategy we can apply for that particular negative or positive risk which is in place. Contingent response strategies and expert judgment. And finally, the outputs will be in the form of project management plan updation and updation in the project documents. So the planning risk response process will result in updation in the project management plan, and also it will try to update the project documents. The planned risk responses process follow perform quantitative risk analysis process. Each risk response requires an understanding of the mechanism by which it will address the risk. This is the mechanism used to analyze if the risk response plan is having the desired effect. It includes the identification and assignment of one person to take responsibility for each agreed to and funded risk response. So we should have some ownership of the risk response which has been suggested. So we should assign some specific person to take responsibility that this is the kind of risk response we are proposing to this kind of risk, and it will be observed that what are the effect of this risk response on the said risk which is in front of you. Risk responses should be appropriate for the significance of the risk, cost effective in meeting the challenges, realistic with the project context, agreed upon by all parties involved, and owned by a specific responsible person. So whatever risk response you have decided, you have planned, this should be appropriate for the significance of the risk. So depending upon the type of risk, whether the risk is falling in high priority risk or low priority risk or moderate priority risk, and what is the effect of that risk on your project objectives. We should plan what kind of risk response we should be applying. So it should be appropriate basically to the nature of risk, whatever is in front of you. Then the risk response must be cost effective in meeting the challenges. It should be realistic within your project context, within the scope of your project, and that risk response must be agreed upon by all the parties involved. Or we can say the risk response, whatever you are planning, it should be agreed by all the stakeholders of your project. And finally, as we have discussed, it must be owned by a responsible person. So somebody should be there who will be taking the responsibility, who will be taking the ownership that yes, I will be implementing this risk response, and I will be observing what is the effect of implementing this risk response on the project objectives. Selecting the optimum risk response from several options is often required. So sometimes you may think of having multiple responses, multiple options available for responding the risks, and then finally you can go for a single appropriate response which may be used for dealing with the risk which is under consideration. Several risk response strategies they are available. The strategy or mix of strategies most likely to be effective should be selected for each risk. So sometimes whatever strategies they are available, standard strategies they are available, sometimes a single strategy can be implemented, or sometimes there can be a combination of the strategies which can be implemented for responding a particular kind of risk. Risk analysis tools like decision tree analysis can be used to choose the most appropriate response. Specific actions are developed to implement that strategy, including primary and backup strategies as necessary. So sometimes we can implement one strategy and we can have another strategy which may be there as a backup plan, as a supporting plan to implement that particular strategy. Risk response strategies for negative risk or threats. So if we consider the negative risks or we consider the threats which are basically affecting adversely the project objectives, then there are certain standard strategies which are planned, which are considered for the risk categories which are in the negative kind of risk, or they are in the threats kind of risk to your project. And whenever we are thinking in terms of risk management, 80% of the time we are more concerned about the negative risk or the threats which are to your project objectives. Three strategies which typically deal with threats or risk that may have negative impact on project objectives if they occur are avoid, transfer, and mitigate. The fourth strategy, accept, can be used for negative risk or threats as well as for positive risk or opportunities. So one strategy is common, that is accept. But there are three strategies which are specifically designed for negative risk. One is avoid, one is transfer, and other is mitigate. Each of these risk response strategies have varied and unique influence on risk condition. These strategies should be chosen to match the risk probability and impact on project overall objectives. Avoidance and mitigation strategies are usually good strategies for critical risk with high impact, while transference and acceptance are usually good strategies for threats that are less critical and with low overall impact. So out of these four, when you have the risks which are critical, they are having very huge impact on project objectives, then preferably the two strategies which can be applied, either one of them or combination of them, is avoidance and mitigation. And in other side, On the other way, if the risk categories they are less critical, their effect is low, their impact is low, then the other two strategies, either transferring the risk or accepting the risk, they can be used. Let us try to understand the details of these four risk responses: avoid, transfer, mitigate, and accept. So first we'll discuss upon the avoid. What is the risk avoidance? This risk avoidance is nothing but what? It is a risk response strategy whereby the project team acts to eliminate the threat or protect the project from its impact. So we try to avoid the occurrence of that particular risk. We try our maximum that this particular risk should not appear, should not come into picture for your particular project. So that is one of the best option. You are avoiding itself the possibility of occurrence of that particular risk. It usually involves changing the project management plan to eliminate the threat entire. So for elimination of the risk, for avoiding that risk, if we want, we may go for changing the project management plan, so that change in project management plan will automatically eliminate that risk, that threat, which is hampering your project to a great extent. Like sometimes, if let us say in rainy season, you want to travel from Konkan region to Mumbai, and you are planning to travel by train in earlier days, not in recent years, but some 4 5 years back. Every monsoon season, there was a threat to the Konkan railway track that there will be heavy landfall. There will be many occasions where there will be water on your track, and the trains used to stop. And when the trains used to halt, they used to halt for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, or more than that also because of the landsliding. So that is a kind of risk. So if you are planning to travel from here to Mumbai and you feel that this is a kind of risk, then better is to go for changing your plan. Why you are going for that railway option? You can go by road, wherein you are directly avoiding the risk of that landsliding and water problems they are occurring in the journey through the railway. So likewise, sometimes you may need to change the plan wherein the risk occurrence or the possibility of risk faced by your project that can be avoided. Sometimes we can go for another strategy, that is transfer. So in risk transference, what we are doing is the project team shifts the impact of threat to a third party together with ownership of the response. So sometimes you go for appointing some contractor and prepare the contract documents such that if any problems are occurring, they can be transferred directly to the contractor. So more responsibility will be with the contractor. So you know that this kind of risk is may going to occur for that particular project, but you are appointing a contractor to perform that particular work, and preparing the contract document, you are taking care that if that risk is happening, that risk is occurring, the responsibility to deal with that risk will be transferred to that particular contractor. Transferring the risk simply gives another party responsibility of its management. It does not eliminate it. So when you transfer, you are not avoiding the chance of the risk to occur. Simply what you are doing is you are making yourself as safe, but you are putting somebody else in trouble. That the risk, if it is coming, instead of you, that other party will need to suffer, will need to have that particular impact of that risk. Third type, which is one of the most preferred type of risk response, is mitigate. So in risk mitigation, what we are doing is the project team acts to reduce the probability of occurrence or impact of a risk. So whatever possible, we try to do those activities which will which will maximize that even if the risk is occurring, the impact will be less, or we will try maximum so that the probability of occurrence itself will get reduced. It implies a reduction in the probability and impact of an adverse risk to be within acceptable threshold limits. So in that way, what we are doing is, if you remember the probability versus impact matrix, if there is a risk which is having high probability as well as high impact, then that risk would be like, it will be in the high priority zone. Extreme, like if you remember this red zone where the probability is also high and the impact is also high. So if we can make certain actions, if we can make certain provisions wherein the probability of occurrence we can go for reduction, as well as if even if it is coming, even if it is occurring, then its impact will be less. Then what we are doing is, from extreme we are trying to bring it to the moderate or low level of its impact, low level of its overall effect on the project objectives. So that is the best way, because if you cannot avoid, if you cannot transfer, if you cannot go for completely removing that risk, then most preferred option is, whatever possible way we can go for trying to minimize the effect of that risk on your project objectives. And last is accept. There are certain situations where there is no other option than accepting it, because sometimes the risks which may be with respect to the natural calamities, some natural disasters, so there is no option other than accepting the risk and then planning how we can go for saving ourselves, preventing ourselves from the huge impact that risk is going to make on your project objectives. So risk acceptance is a risk response strategy where the project team decides to acknowledge the risk and not take any action unless the risk occurs. This strategy is adopted where it is not possible or cost effective to address a specific risk in any other way. So accept is nothing but the last option. Accept is a risk response strategy which nobody will think at the first instant. Initially, we should think of avoiding it. If cannot be avoided, whether we can transfer it. If we can't avoid, if we can't transfer, then we should try for mitigating, lessening the effect of your risk if it is occurring. And if we cannot avoid, we cannot transfer, we cannot reduce its effect, then finally there is no other option than we have to go for accepting that particular risk. So instead of theoretical discussion, this will be the more appropriate to understand the various project risk response strategies. So you can see the picture number 1 is about your project. You want to jump from that hilly area to the valley, which is on the left hand side. So the first thing is, you can simply give up, avoid that. You can move away from that particular risk. So if you don't jump, then there are no chances that you will get injured or you will have any trouble. So you are simply going for avoiding the risk. Second case, let us say we will move one picture further, transfer. What you are doing is, you are bringing somebody else and showing him that how beautiful is the nature in this particular valley. So instead of me, you can go and enjoy. So please jump in this valley and explore the nature which is available in this particular valley. So what you are doing is, you are trying to transfer. Somebody has to jump, then why should I will bring someone else and ask him to jump. So the work will be done. Somebody should jump, that is your project. So instead of you are asking somebody else to jump and enjoy the nature. But actually, you know what are the possibilities and what are the threats in jumping from that particular top level to the valley which is there. Then next is about the middle picture, which is about the mitigation. So now there is no option that we have to jump, but at least what we can do is we can have some strategies wherein even if we jump, the effect that can be minimized. That we can go for some provisions at the bottom level wherein even if we jump, we may not have injuries. We may be able to sustain that particular force with which we are jumping. And if nothing is possible, if we cannot go for avoiding, if you cannot go for transferring, so jumping is compulsory, so you cannot avoid it. You don't find anyone else so that you can transfer it. You cannot make any provisions so that you can mitigate this risk. So ultimately, the final option what remains is forget about everything, take the name of God, and simply dive into that particular valley as you are accepting that particular risk. So that is nothing but the four different strategies: avoid, transfer, mitigate, and accept for the negative risks which will be adversely affecting your project objectives. Then there are certain risks which may have positive effect or that can be seen as opportunities to your project. So three of the four responses are suggested to deal with risk. There are potentially positive impacts on project objectives. Fourth strategy, accept, that is common with negative and positive. These three strategies are nothing but exploiting, sharing, enhancing, and accepting, which is common with the negative risk. So exploit, share, and enhance. These are the three specific responses only meant for positive risk or opportunities. So what do you mean by exploit? This particular strategy, exploitation, it can be selected for risk with positive impacts where the organization wishes to ensure that the opportunity is realized. This strategy seeks to eliminate the uncertainty associated with a particular upside risk by ensuring the opportunity definitely happens. So, whenever you feel that there is a kind of risk involved, but that risk is having good effects, some positive effects on your project objectives, then you should try for eliminating the uncertainty. So whether that is going to happen or not, if that is a situation, we should try maximum that it will happen, because if that opportunity or the positive risk happens, that is good for your project. So you, in previous case, when we go for avoid, we are trying to eliminate by changing the project management plan. We may try for how we can avoid that particular risk. Exploit is exactly opposite to that. In this case, we are trying that how we can grab that opportunity, how we can make that opportunity to occur and benefit our project. Second is enhancing. The enhanced strategy is used to increase the probability and positive impacts of an opportunity. Identifying and maximizing key drivers of this positive impact risk may increase the probability of their occurrence. So in negative risk, we are having the mitigation where we are trying to minimize the effect of this risks which are negative or the threats which are negatively hampering your project objectives. Enhance is reverse to that. In this case, we are trying that how the risk probability and how the impact that can be increased so that the risk will be more and more beneficial to your project. Third type of strategy is share. It is similar to the strategy we adopted in negative risk, that is transfer. There we used to transfer the risk to somebody else. Now in this case, we are trying to share the positive risk so that we will be allocating some or all of the ownership of the opportunity to third party who is best able to capture the opportunity for the benefit of the project. So if you feel that you cannot take out maximum benefit out of that particular opportunity, then you may go for sharing that opportunity with somebody so that looking at his capabilities, you know that this particular agency, this particular firm, this particular person can take out maximum benefit out of that particular opportunity, and that is good for your own project, that is beneficial for your own project. That is a win-win situation. He will be also getting benefited, your project will also get benefited. Examples of sharing option action include forming risk sharing partnership teams, special purpose companies, joint ventures, etc., which can be established with the express purpose of taking advantage of the opportunity so that all parties gain from their actions. And last, accept. Accepting opportunity is being willing to take advantage of opportunity if it arises, but not actively pursuing it. So accept means we are not going for exploiting. We are not going. We are not running behind those opportunities. If it comes, then we are simply showing the acceptance that okay, let it happen. We are not trying, or we are not making deliberate efforts that this risk should happen, or this opportunity should come to us and we should take the maximum benefit out of that. So we are not doing anything, we are simply observing, and if at all it is coming, we are showing our expression that yes, we may accept it if it is coming. So these are some of the references